Hi folks, welcome to your Gersnet immediate post-match reaction pod, coming to you in association with Forest Precision Engineering. My name's Alec Anderson. I am here to talk to you about Rangers' rather impressive 4-2 win at Fir Park this afternoon. But first of all, you'll have worked out with the fact that it's dark outside, that I've got the lights on in here, that I am a bigger liar than any executive member of the Rangers board. I am a bigger liar than the lines that VAR plots to mark offside, because this is in no way an immediate post-match reaction pod. Your chubby correspondent has been having what we like to call technical issues with videos and posting videos, but there's no way I couldn't talk to you this PM about Rangers' lovely 4-2 win at Fir Park in this afternoon's SPFL Premiership match. 4-2, shove those digits together, that's 42. That's the amount of SPFL Premiership points that have been available to Michael Beale since he arrived as Rangers manager in November, and he has won 40 of them. 40 out of 42 points. Quite magnificent. That's 8 away wins on the bounce in the league. That is 9 successive league wins. He's only dropped points in 1 of the 14 league games that he's been in charge. He hasn't lost any. He's lost 1 cup game out of the 5. I know it was a major cup game that he lost, and that's maybe perhaps coloured the kind of atmosphere around Rangers a bit more than it should have. Look, when the team came out onto the park today at Fir Park, they were greeted by a massive protest from that massive away end, that double-decker, that two-tier stand, the Motorola stand as I call it, built in the mid-90s by Motherwell FC, because they knew that the only way to make money in Scottish football was by milking the old firm, because Scottish football is a two-horse race, and the fact that Rangers have been slightly trailing in that two-horse race for not even 2 years yet has got to a lot of our supporters, got to a large swathe of our support. So the players have come down the tunnel today, and there is a display banner saying time for a change, and everybody seems to be holding up these flyers with pictures of Stuart Robertson and Ross Wilson. They're wanting rid of these executive directors. These are 2 executive directors probably that most of the Rangers players taking the part today will have had their first contact with, have most of their contact, the most personal issues are sorted out with these 2 guys. Signing for Rangers, what's expected of them at Rangers, their pay, their contract extensions or whatever, sorting out houses. I don't know what all gets arranged, but these guys are going to be heavily involved in that, these 2 directors. So I don't know how that's making the players feel. I maybe overstate. The players, I think, understand that the supporters are right behind the team, and the support today was magnificent. You could hear, I'm watching on the telly. I don't do away games anymore. I do Ibrox and Hampden. So, that kind of maybe denies me the right to speak about this. People who are paying money to go every week, have more right to be upset than I am. And if Rangers supporters, if any Rangers supporter is upset with Rangers, then I'm upset with them too. But I can't help thinking every supporter's an ecosystem, so I can do some happy clapping maybe to balance out the kind of militancy of that display today. Look, we've got 3 more games against Celtic before the end of the season. If we don't win 2 of them at least, then I think it's time for protest. Then I think it's time to have a right go at the board. As it is, I think there's a real danger. There's a danger that if you think anything that's better than 2012 is good for Rangers, because 2012 was the nadir for any club, no matter how small, never mind how large. But there's also a danger, I think, if we overreact to the current situation, we're going to end up sending ourselves back to 2012, which, if you remember, there wasn't a lot of billionaires coming out the woodwork to save us back then. Listen, I understand people are upset. They need a way to vent that. It certainly didn't affect the team badly today. I would love to blame the fact that guys were making a protest on Rangers losing that goal early doors, but we both know that's me being a bigger liar than anybody again, because Rangers have been losing that early goal long before there's any protest for over a year now. Listen, with Ridvan Yilmaz in at left back today, his first start for the first team since that match against Aberdeen last October, in which he picked up that really bad injury. By the way, congratulations to Borna and Mrs. Borna. To the moth, a grandchild is born. But that's given Ridvan his opportunity to start today. Could we blame him for the fact that Motherwell, a resurgent Motherwell under Stuart Kettle, were doing really well just now? They've won, I think, 3 of the last 4 league games. They're moving up the league, and a lot of that is the kind of potency and attack. And they dinked a ball from the midfield over to their outside right, down our left-hand side. They whipped the ball across the face of the goal, across our 6-yard box, and it's walked in by Van Veen, their striker, who's in a great vein of form just now. 14, 15 goals he scored this season. Could we blame Ridvan Yilmaz for that? No, because that's a goal we've conceded just twice, even just in the League Cup final a few weeks ago. We were trying to blame the officials for it, because to the naked eye, it seemed as if the ball to the right hand, the outside right of Motherwell was offside. the replay that we saw later in the game that the VAR would see when the lines were plotted showed that the guy was onside by what looked like a hair on the left buttock of Connor Goldson. And rules, by their very nature, are pedantic. That's something that's missed in the whole VAR debate. So you can be offside by an eyelash. You can be onside by a toenail. So it was a legitimate goal. Yes, I'm setting it up for a pro-Rangers argument in VAR, the VAR debate later on. We know that. But it was a legitimate goal for Motherwell, and it was up to Rangers to try and do something about that. We struggled to get a shot on goal for the first 20-odd minutes. Other changes to the team today. John Lundstrom came in, and Ryan Jack was there. They're kind of sitting to because Nicholas Raskin is either injured or Belgium have called him up the under-21s. We don't know what's happened, but Raskin wasn't playing. He's been doing well recently. And we feel that John Lundstrom isn't as good at breaking the lines as Raskin. Our midfield, therefore, wasn't going to be as dynamic. No fears in that score because the third member of that midfield was Todd Cantwell, who is a spinning blonde top with a blue ribbon. He's in defence, he's in attack, he's in midfield, he just covers all the bases. The guy was absolutely sensational today, as he has been in his last few appearances. We've now got this thing in the hole. Ryan Kent is sitting in the hole in front of the midfield three and behind an attacking partnership of, as it has been of late, Fashion Sakala and Antonio Cholak, but it wasn't happening until Ryan Kent, who I think another guy who comes under a lot of criticism. And you would look at that game today maybe and think he hadn't done too much, Ryan Kent. But when you watch it back, he's actually played a major part in all 3 goals. Doesn't have an assist, doesn't get a goal today, but he's played a major part in 3 of the 4 goals that we scored today. And in this one, he slots a ball, a lateral between 2 Motherwell defenders for John Lundstrom to run onto and break the lines and almost get his ankle broken as he's brought down necessarily for Motherwell at the edge of the Motherwell box. Up steps my captain, James Tavernier. We've got Ryan Jack and Connor Goldson in the Motherwell wall. They part like a pair of curtains, and Tav slots it almost perfectly between them and into the bottom left-hand corner past Liam Kelly. How many times has he scored this kind of goal at this kind of venue, in this kind of situation? 98 goals for Rangers, half of them are penalties. The other half of these death-defyingly spectacular shots, free kicks from outside the box. He's done it before at Fir Park. He did it this season, both games against Livingston. He's done it up at St Johnstone through the years. When we need a goal, when we're staring down the barrel of a draw, and that's all it's needed. A draw in these kind of games is a disaster for Rangers. Tav will step up and do the business, and he did it again in the very first minute of the second half. We've had the rocket again. It's now a traditional rocket up them from Michael Beale at half time to up the pace, to up the ante. But as long as it works, it keeps working, keeps getting the 3 points. That's fine by me. Tav takes a lovely ball from Cantwell, who was put on exhibition with some of the passes. Todd Cantwell today. This one, nice ball out wide for Tav, who just makes a little bit of room for himself and whips it from that wing right across to the back of the 6-yard box, where Fashion Sakala himself, like a spinning top, like a whirling dervish, comes in with such pace and such ferocity that he spins himself round and actually heads the ball in with the back of his head, but he knew what he was doing. Fashion, he's now the hammer of the well. He's taken on the Cedric Itten mantle, but both Fashion and Cedric Itten have scored goals against Motherwell in games where Rangers still haven't won. We've drawn. Yeah, Motherwell haven't beaten us in a proper league game for 20 years. That doesn't mean it can be a disaster. We just need them to equalise, and that's exactly what happened just before the hour, 59th minute. And what was a kind of all-round kind of disaster for Rangers. John Lundstrom's getting the blame for nodding the ball straight out for a corner. Ridvan Yilmaz made a couple of tackles against a couple of Motherwell players in the left-hand side. He'd won the first one, we won the second one. The ball spun back off the opposing player towards John at the edge of our box. He heads it backwards. There's a kind of mix-up. I think Alan McGregor's maybe come out a bit too soon for it. And that's ironic because Alan McGregor then doesn't come out at all for the resultant corner. The ball is bouncing about. Listen, Connor Goldson can't clear it. James Tavernier can't clear it. It's kind of 8 yards from goal, but for me, Alan McGregor isn't coming out for it. He stood 2 yards off his line. He just needs to walk out and pick this ball up. And I think that's what Antonio Cholak was thinking when Tony Goals was real back in his own defence, particularly in his own 6-yard box, and he's trying to shield the ball, expecting his goalie to come out and pick it up. He doesn't. Alan doesn't come out for it. Greg, you're a legend. I love you, but we have to sort this out. And in comes Bevis Mugabe, the big centre-half for Motherwell, who are piling on the physical pressure at that point, and he just kind of slides his foot between Cholak's 2 kind of shielding legs and sclaffs the ball under Al McGregor for an untidy finish. A kind of Gerd Muller goal. Older viewers, Gerd Muller played for West Germany in the 70s, 68 goals and 62 internationals, one of the greatest goal scorers of all time, and he wore the squad number 13. If you're going to wear number 13, you better be a goal scorer, and Todd Cantwell wears 13 for Rangers, and he became the next goal scorer in this match. Although the big talking point was the ball from Ryan Kent out to Fashion Sakala on the left wing. But we'll come back to that. Sakala knocks a ball into the Motherwell box. It kind of comes off a Motherwell defender. It's not the best ball in the world, but at this point, Motherwell are starting to succumb to the wave upon wave of Rangers attacks. It's only like 4 or 5 minutes after we've conceded this equaliser. The ball bounces out. I think it's Ryan Kent has a go. Who else? Cholak has a go. Tav has a go. The ball's ricocheting about. It eventually arrives at the feet of Todd Cantwell at the edge of the 6-yard box, and the ghost of Gerd Muller communicating to him through his number 13 in his back tells him, when you're practically stood under the bar, hit the ball high because you're not going to hit it over. Todd smashes it into that top corner of the net, and then he jumps over the fence and into the Rangers support in that massive stand behind the goal. He does the old slam dunk celebration. It's a lovely moment. It's great to see him get another, this other part of his game off his kind of chest. He's got it's not going to be a burden on his shoulders. His lack of a goal. He got an assist last week. He's got a goal this week. All this done before the international break. Hopefully Todd Cantwell can grow because he is magnificent. Man of the match today. We then have another beautiful string to our bow, and our bench is getting better. Strangely, when maybe you can see we had a couple of first team players missing today from the starting lineup. We bring on Alfredo Morelos and Malik Tillman in the 65th minute when we're still winning just by the one goal. Off goes Fashion, Antonio Cholak, who didn't have the best game today, Tony. And then Alfredo Morelos gets the ball, 6-yard box. Motherwell, you expect us to have a kind of lazy shot, as Alfie might do if he's a bit huffy coming off the bench, but he looked very mature today, Alfie, when he came on. He checks back inside and he rolls a lovely ball back to Malik Tillman at the edge of the box, who has the touch of the game to take out the rest of the Motherwell defence and then slam it right into that top corner, the same top corner as Todd Cantwell, the corner of class, to make it 4-2 to Rangers. An absolutely magnificent goal. That's two magnificent goals of very different types for Malik Tillman into that goal at Fir Park. That's 3 wins for Rangers over Motherwell in all 3 league games in which we will play them this season. The only after that is a magnificent aspect in the sending off for Motherwell a few minutes later. That really that's the game gone. Motherwell go down to 10 men. Slattery, the fellow that filled Lundstrom in the first half and copped a booking. He hits Lundstrom in the face, and hits Todd Cantwell in the face, and he gets his second yellow off he goes. And I was worried that Todd Cantwell has so much to prove. He's so busy, so energetic in the few games that he's played for us so far that he looks like he's going to maybe take it too far, do someday accidentally and get himself sent off, get us into trouble. But no, I think he can play on the edge and stay on the edge. He knows not to go over the edge. He really handled that situation well. So Todd Cantwell, again, I can't stop praising him. Unlike everybody else talking about VAR, that was the end of the game. Rangers did exactly what they did at Easter Road. 2 successive, 4 goals scored in away games for Rangers in the league, and at Easter Road, the same thing. Once the game was over, we played like we knew the game was over. The edge was taken off our finishing, really bad finishing. We're practically playing keep ball in the opposition box as we did at Easter Road a few weeks ago, but not getting a goal. It's almost as if we're keeping the cutting edge or keeping the ultimate professionalism for when we need it, for when the game is in the balance, kind of deal small, feed all attitude like Michael Beale is getting a tune out this team, and he's getting them to time their bursts of energy because they're still struggling for energy after the exertions of that horrible Champions League campaign and the end of Gio's reign. But that was us. We coasted, and then we had to listen to this kind of, I find it really disingenuous and slightly nefarious for officials. The way the Rangers goal was, the third Rangers goal was analysed by your Sky correspondents. Now, Chris Boyd, Rangers hero Chris Boyd, he's got no great agenda against the club. James McFadden, I think, is one of the fairest and most intelligent observers of Scottish football on the go. He's a pundit that I really like. But Elia Barber kind of set it up in that lazy editorial way, which is let's make a controversy out of VAR without really properly analysing VAR. And it was all kind of, well, to the naked eye, it looked offside. To me, it looked offside. As if suddenly, it's like they haven't seen that kind of Father Ted sketch about the cows and in the fields, about perspective, the cows being observed by Dougal from the caravan. perspectives, it doesn't matter what it looks like, it's how it is. The naked eye, the football naked eye, is the most biased naked eye in the history of naked eyes. Everybody is looking at football through so many lenses of bias. When I see a Rangers player getting tackled in a 50-50, I assume the player that's tackling him is an IRA operative trying to decapitate him or something like that. We're not, we should, the naked eye shouldn't be relied on in football of all places. The lines were level, and the protocol is the advantage goes to attacking play. This was said almost grudgingly, as if Rangers had got away with someone. The protocol before we had VAR was that if it's level for offside, the advantage goes with the attacking player. So this is a totally bogus kind of controversy out of nothing. VAR is doing the job. The officials are trying to do the job with it, and I think it's actually this basic kind of mainstream media coverage is determined to make a controversy out of nothing, because if there's a controversy, suddenly their coverage seems interesting. Rangers and Celtic just win all the time, so let's try and create something out of that. It particularly suits the coverage of Scottish football. I thought it was really bad, but if you want proper coverage of this match, I would advise you to tune in, please, to the main Gersnet show, Sunday night show, the main show, 9:30 tomorrow night, live on our YouTube channel, where Colin Armstrong, Craig Gray, and Patrick Caskey, three top blokes, will give you a top analysis of this top Rangers performance at Fir Park. And thanks for joining me, folks. Talk to you soon.